Welcome to Teams 5 Data Meeting Number 4 presentation by Tiffany and Jamie. This week's this week's data meeting agenda is to discuss our team planning and process, provide evidence of team collaboration, examine strategies to implement in the classroom in order to accomplish our SMART learning goal through the action plan and data sheet, and to give you a brief reflection. The team roles were me, myself, the leader, Jamie was the facilitator and researcher, and I was also the consolidator. We conversed on the phone on the dates of Friday, July 21st and Sunday, July 23rd. However, our schedule collided a little bit, so we did something differently by leaving comments on the side of our action plan tracking sheet. So when I would periodically work on the action planning sheet, I was able to see Jamie's comments and vice versa. When she would periodically work on the action planning sheet, she was able to see my comments. So this really helped us out as far as our planning and collaboration. And this is an example of how we would collaborate on Google Docs when we weren't able to speak with each other on the phone. So let's get started. Our action plan and tracking sheet. Our SMART learning goal is given direct instruction throughout the fraction units, real world problems, practice with a variety of word problems, and project-based learning experiences. Students will solve a variety of real world problems across operations at a minimum of 70% accuracy across all students. Now, how will our students accomplish this goal? We researched multiple strategies that we felt will help our students within our classroom. And one of the strategies that we found was using graphic organizers. Graphic organizers will allow students to organize their information. Within our research, we learned that sometimes students just write down the wrong information or they're not paying attention. So using a graphic organizer will help them organize everything that's in their word problems and understand what the question's asking. Not only will students be able to have a hard copy of the organizer, the teacher can upload an electronic copy of the organizer so that students can have access through their school accounts while they're at home. Now, how will the teacher do this? The teacher will create 3 graphic organizer and teach the student how to use each one. The student can choose which organizer works best for them. This will allow students to take ownership of their learning, what's helpful for them. And also, the teacher can have a video presentation of the completion of the organizer uploaded on Google Classroom so that the student can still have access to that while they're at home. The people who will be participating is the teacher who will model, the students who will practice, and we also felt like the SPED department should have the same organizers to have a consistency of organizers being used in the classroom as well as with the SPED department. Students will Students are able to use their organizer as many times as they want while they're completing word problems. The organizers will be useful throughout the entire year. Like I said, whenever they complete a word problem, the goal is eventually the student will not need the graphic organizer because it will be implanted in their minds how to organize their information. The graphic organizer is just a guidance for them. Completion date. The completion date will be at the end of their unit test. The graphic organizer is also going to be used as an assessment. We would like to make sure that the students are completing the organizers correctly, because if the student is still not completing the organizer correctly, then the organizer will not be useful in solving their word problem. Manipulatives is another great strategy to use in order to help our students accomplish our goal. Using a manipulative is very beneficial to the students because it allows hands-on experience and also virtuality. The teacher will provide a link of virtual manipulatives that the student can access on Google Classroom while they're at home or on the go as well. How this can be done, the teacher will model in whole group setting. However, the students can practice in small group or independently. Using small group rotation, you can have a computer station or independent station, and the teacher can have more practice with the student during teacher station. Using small groups will incorporate collaboration amongst the students and allow practice so that they can be comfortable. The students will be grouped according to a pre-assessment and other resources needed. The participating parties are the teacher who will model, the students who will practice, and also the SPED department will use the same manipulatives and strategy to once again continue consistency. This strategy should be used throughout the year while students are working with word problems. So this is another thing that doesn't necessarily have to just be done in one setting. The completion date is at the end of their unit test. And the students will be assessed informally, and the information will be used to guide further instructions. So connect with real situations. This strategy helps the teacher connect the student's life and interest in word problems so that they can have the vocabulary and background information. The teacher can create problems that are geared to the student's interest in life. It helps make the problem more realistic and relatable, and it also allows the teacher to determine if it's the concept the student is having difficulty with or the info or processing the information. Students will have access to multiple resources such as online word banks, pictures, and videos to support learning. But we felt like this is a good strategy for ELL students as well. The participating parties will, of course, be the teacher who will create the word problems, but also the student, because the word problems will be within the students' relations and their interests. The teacher will observe and survey students to determine what information they should place inside of the word problems. This strategy can be used throughout the unit and also throughout the year of the student's learning. The completion date is once again through their summative assessment, and verifying artifacts will be observation in small groups using a tracking sheet so it can help provide more data and support for the individual student and small groups of students for the teacher. We decided that the creation of videos is another great strategy to use to help with our smart learning goal. The students will watch videos that present real-world fraction problems. They would then work in small groups to solve it. Students will later create their own video that provides a problem incorporating a minimum of two operations across fractions. Teacher will create 4 to 5 videos and students will work together to solve it. This will allow collaboration and also to help share thinking. Students will then create their own collaboratively, create a script, and their script will be shared with the students. Each group will share their video and students will solve. The presenting group will act as the leaders in the classroom. The acting participants will be the teacher who created the original problems to model and the students as well. The students, this is a great way to once again show ownership of their learning. The students will be creating the videos and also solving other student created videos, and it will also help with engagement. The frequency of this strategy is for the teacher to implement one video a week so the students can get used to seeing the real world video problems. Then by the end of the final week, the students will create their own video. I would assume this will be about a 2-day project. And the completion is once again at the end of their summative assessment, and the students will be assessed on their videos and presentation based on a rubric. Puzzle is a great strategy to use that will help our smart learning goal. The teacher will create a at-home project to implement parental involvement. Students will have the opportunity to teach and practice with family members. Students will be given online access to video word problems created by the teacher with stopping points. Using App Puzzle will allow the teacher to create quizzes and stopping points for clarification. Students will share the video with family members at home, and together they will work to solve the problem and answer embedded questions. The students become the teacher leader, helping the parents help them complete the problem. This is a great way to have the Google Classroom online resources, such as their virtual manipulatives and as well as their graphic organizers, because this will help them solve and create their problems. The project will be given once in the final week of the unit, and students will have 5 days to complete the project. The final day of the unit will be the day that the project is due. The students will be assessed on a participation basis, and answers submitted through Edpuzzle will be used to check in with students that need additional help. So throughout the project, the teacher can also collaborate with the students while they're at home. So if the students had any questions or help, the teacher will be able to quickly answer them while they are completing this project. And last but not least, collaboration slash Padlet. So students will select two operations to use in a word problem. Now this situation, the teacher can determine if certain students will need to still use one operations in a word problem, or if they're okay to move forward to implementing two operations in a word problem. So students will select two operations to use in a word problem. Students will work in pairs to produce multi-step word problems that students can solve. Students will upload their problems on Padlet. Students will individually solve the problem, but before they're able to do this, the teacher will model using an exemplar video. Throughout the video, the teacher will walk through the problem in a whole group setting. Teacher will relate previous learned strategies to the word problem in order to demonstrate understanding. For example, underlining, checking for, make sure you have your information correctly, and also using anchor charts. The students will work in pairs to create their word problem. The students will have approximately 30 minutes to create their word problem. Now, the student to allow a little differentiating and also to allow student ownership within their work, we decided to provide options for the students. For example, option one, give students the answer and then they create the problem, or option B or two, create a story slash narrative with a word problem as the center focus. Once again, this allows the students to take ownership of their learning and their work by choosing which one best works for them. The participant parties, of course, is the teacher who will model the word problem and also the video, and students who will work in pairs to create the multi-step problem. The task will be done in one class period, and the activity will be completed by the end of the class period or to your judgment. Each student will solve one word problem as an exit ticket, and that's what the teacher will use as the assessment. As I mentioned in our agenda, I'm going to give you a brief reflection of how me and Jamie felt after completing our data meeting number 4. We felt that data meeting number 4 was very beneficial as the other data meetings were, but this data meeting allowed us to get a clear understanding of the process of all of our data meetings coming together. We also used more resources in this data meeting. We were able to implement different strategies building on top of what we learned in our previous data meeting. We also worked in smaller increments this time, and collaborating using the comments really helped out with our confliction of our scheduling. And we really just enjoyed thinking of different ways that we can actually use this inside of our classroom. Even though I teach third grade and Jamie teaches fifth grade, we felt like we can use a lot of these strategies in both of our classrooms and both of our environments. So this was just a very great data meeting that kind of pulled everything together for me and Jamie. Well, I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great one.